everybody, it seemed like you enjoyed my breakdown yesterday, so I'm going to go for another one. This time we're dialing back in time a little bit. We're going back to the Pulse Invitational, which was the biggest tournament before the PAX Invitational that just concluded yesterday. Now, we're going to be following Cloud9 because they made the finals of the PAX Invitational, and here they are playing in the quarterfinals where they defeated TSM. And Haven, I was worried about in the PAX Invitational finals against the Sentinels. It came up twice. It would have been the second and the fifth map had Cloud9 managed to get there. And I really respect Cloud9 on Haven. I think that they're a pretty good team. They've got a good feel for the map. Shinobi calls pretty well on there, and the rotations are good. But it was really this series in the Pulse Invitational a couple of weeks ago where I started to take note of their executes, because previously they've been a very puggy kind of team. They just rely on 10s fragging out, but they started to build out some nice executes. So I'm going to go through a couple of them and showcase why I believe that Haven is Cloud9's best map, despite what the numbers might say, and why I think other teams should be a little scared of taking them over here, because if they can combine 10s popping off with some decent execution, then Cloud9 could actually be a scary team that can make these kind of grand finals appearances more consistently. So let's have a look at what we've got here. This is going to be round number 3. And again, you're playing against TSM. You know that there's an AWP in Wardell's hands. This is pretty similar to what I was talking about in my previous video with the Sentinels. And what they're going to go for here is their default look where they pressure towards A, try and push people out of long, get some kind of presence so that they drag players towards A. And then what we're going to end up with, if I bring the minimap a little larger, is the rest of the team kind of coalescing around B, and they're going to go for a really nice play around the B site. Now, normally, what you would have on B is a sage wall down one side, some smokes to lock off one of or both of these, and you would just try and get the plant here, maybe get one guy in the back of side, one guy in the side, one guy watching garage, one guy from window, something like that. Some kind of post plant that looks a little bit like this. Obviously, I've put down 6 dots, but these are all places where you could be holding. Instead, what they're going to go for is a play that has a wall boost. So let's come out of the minimap and we'll just showcase what's going on here, because I really like this, and I think that it also came out during the final itself in the PAX Invitational. So you can see them put in a bit of pressure towards A long. They smoke up on B early, and they're just watching to make sure there's no pushes, just running a bit of a default at the beginning of the round. And this is interesting here. So if we bring it back up on the minimap, what you'll see is because they had so much attention towards the A side early on in the rounds, they are going to actually utilize the drone coming out here from Shinobi to retake mid. So they're putting a lot of respect on TSM. They think that Sabrosa might have pushed down mid. It's something he likes to do quite a lot. And you've got Relics is covering the push from C. So you know that nobody's pushed out of C. You got a tripwire there as well. But when it comes to grass and when it comes to mid, you do have to be a little concerned about that. So they're going to retake it with the drone, just playing it really safe. This is a little bit of a tell. They could have had a player in grass as well. They don't need all 4 players to be over towards A, but this is going to be the beginning of their push. As you see, 10 steps up towards Cubby, just trying to clear these tight angles a little bit. Listen for any intel. He's running the judge as well, which is interesting and will be relevant later. And you're going to see the teams starting to gather up around. They're going to wait out the smoke before they execute, but they're trying not to give any information to the players of Cloud9, to the players of TSM. And Cutler is holding back a site. This is a really normal place for somebody to be holding. Oh, sorry. I've had it on the minimap this entire time. But you got to see the flow of people on the minimap anyway. That's mostly what I was looking at, to be honest. So Cutler's going to be holding this back of site area, which is a pretty common place for people to be holding. They've figured out that this A push is a fake because they've pushed up drone into position really deep on A. So they know that the hit's going to be coming in, but they think it's going to be some kind of C split hit. So they've moved players over to that kind of site. You normally play retakes on B anyway, which is part of why this strat is really cool. Because what they do is they put up the wall, and this wall is going to be right in the middle here. They don't really use it to split off either of the sides. They just put the wall straight up in the middle, and Mitch is going to be up on the wall here. So Mitch he's kind of behind the minimap at the moment, but he's boosted up on top of the wall, and he's going to sync that boost with 10s flying up with his updraft, and then he dashes across as well. So suddenly Cutler, who's just holding back of sight, expecting people to push around the side into him, or, you know, maybe around here, just go for the normal default B push. Instead, he's got Mitch up on top, as Sage on top of the box, and he's got 10s right up in his face. Now, maybe if you knew it was coming, you'd be able to kill one of them, possibly two of them, but nobody really predicts this. As far as I can tell, this is the only team that has run and execute like this. So I think this caught Cutler completely off guard. Mitch then gets a spray down on Sabrosa, who he thinks is just going to try and help trade for Cutler. They're a bit lucky to be able to get that kill, but a really good set execute to be able to find the opening picks and just completely secure point B here. They also get great use out of the judge, right? Because it's got the it's got all of that accuracy while you're in the air. So this is moving on a little bit as well, and this is another execute that Cloud9 are going to run. And I'm going to bring up the minimap to explain what they're going to do here. They're going to go for a B to A execute, right? So we've previously seen this B execute where they wall up and go in. This time what they're going to do is they're going to put two players around here, and they're going to try and pinch from this kind of side. It's a little similar to the kind of stuff that NIP likes to run in Europe, where they'll loop all the way around here to hit C, or they'll do some big B to A pushes like that. But this is a bit more common, more expected, but they're going to try and hit the A site from behind and put a lot of squeeze on these guys. And it also has the ancillary benefit of making it seem like it's a B hit too. So let's watch this play out. This is also a great way of punishing AWPers a little bit as well, because you're not really attacking from the front. You stop the AWPers from taking just a set position on the site anyway. So you can see Cloud9 just running this default at the beginning, making sure that there's no pushes. Relix takes control of C with the tripwire. They take a look down towards A. And now they're going to try and move in. They also know that TSM has been holding quite passively over on A. They have that information. So the drone comes down short, and these two players are going to move in. The drone is going to get called out, and so that's like a bit of a tell that they're heading towards A, which is going to drag some players over. Drone moves his way over there, and Sabrosa is going to be holding B. Mitch is going to put down a wall here to fake that it's going to be a B hit instead. And this makes these A players scramble a little bit because they don't quite know what's going to be happening. Obviously, he's going to wall this C side so that any other people are going to... They also spend a lot of time just waiting here, trying to sell that this was a fake on A. The drone coming down here, they're trying to sell that that was a fake, and they're actually hitting B. You need to give some time for that, otherwise people aren't really going to buy it. So, camera, a smoke. This smoke is also crucial because it blocks off the sightline as these guys push in. This sightline is going to be blocked, as in this sightline, for anybody that was holding garage or wants to be holding from Gong, for example. All of this is going to get blocked off by that smoke. So that's a really nice smoke that's coming out here from Relix. Vice and Mitch enter. They put down the wall, and you can see this immediately drags Sabrosa back towards the rest of the team. There's a bit of pixelation there, but here's another thing that I really like in the middle of this, is that Relix sends out the smoke and immediately blinds the player that is holding this B to A connector, and he blinds it from A short. So they're getting a really quick push into A, whilst also helping the guys who are pushing B to A as well. So I think that's wonderful that Relix manages to find, look, here comes the blind through onto Sabrosa, who he knows is going to be coming back down from this B to A connector because they think that they've been bamboozled. They think it's actually a B push. By that point, it's a little too late. Sabrosa has to run all the way back. I think Sabrosa actually manages to find a kill here, but they get traded on. Yeah. And they trade a couple of kills to be able to enter here, and now it's only Cutler that's in. They've got control of the entirety of the A site. They've got all 5 players alive after the res came out. So a really great execute for Cloud9 to be able to take just control of the site. And this isn't the kind of stuff that Cloud9 normally does. They're normally quite a puggy team. But they are clearly building out their playbook. And they seem to have started with Haven. I haven't really seen... I mean, there was a little bit on Ascent, I suppose, but Haven seems to be their most built-out map in terms of strategic rotations and executions. So I cut that round off there. They end up coming out with the win on that round. And this is another one where they came out with a really good execution. So this was a good retake. So I'm just going to let this basically play out. This is where Cloud9 are playing defense now. And this is round 12. So this is the pistol round. Sorry, round 13. So this is the pistol round. So they're just playing passive over on A. Shinobi's going to get a rotation into heaven at some point as well here, I think. And they're basically leaving A completely open. I think they have some kind of read that it's going to be there, and they're just playing it for retake. And the reason they're playing it for retake, I think, is because they have a really good pistol round retake strat. And so here we go. They've given complete control of the A site to TSM. Normally, that would be a little devastating. But with pistols, it's much easier to be able to get back in and retake for starters. And they also have some specific utility that they're going to use here, which I really like. So let's take a look at the positions to start with. So they have the bomb as it gets planted. This is the default spot, actually, where Cutler is holding. But in fact, it is Hazed who is posted up in the corner, which is directly underneath heaven right now. So the first part of this is that Shinobi is going to send in shock darts onto the default position, which is where he believes they're going to be planting. This the shock dart is going to hit Cutler and does a bit of damage to him. So that, you know, that might have been better if they were actually planting a default instead of in the corner, but hey ho, that's not too bad. And now they're going to get in position for the actual retake. Tens is taken heaven, manages to find the pick on Wardell. That's all good stuff. And then they're just going to slow down for a little bit as this wall comes into place. With the wall in place, they need to break it for the retake, obviously. So once they've broken it, they're still just a little patient here. And they're getting in position. So the first thing that comes out, Relics is going to smoke. I'm going to show you guys the minimap, actually, because I think you can see everything that they do on the minimap here. So smoke goes over towards short. That's going to stop the guys from short having a great position. Shinobi moves up into the heaven area. And Shinobi is going to shoot out a recon dart at the same time as Tens dashes in. And a blind comes through from here. This is a great blind, and Relics has a couple of these. He has one like this and one like this. The diagonal one downwards that I'm showcasing at the moment catches obviously this close right position, which is a bitch to clear, and then it catches default position as well for anyone hiding behind the box in the plant site or where people would normally be planting. The other one that I've illustrated is one that he used in the finals against Sentinels, but he doesn't use it here. This one catches the close right position and people that would be hiding under hell, but they're more concerned about the other option. So let's take it out of the minimap mode, and you can see that they just pause for a moment here. They wait, they sync up, and here we go. Blind comes in across the point. You can see that there. It catches a drone and it catches Cutler. A recon dart goes out, and then Tens is going to dash across as well. Updraft and dash across. So he gets a view of where everybody is holding, sees these blind players, drops down into the smoke. Backstab is fantastic. These players come in from spawn, and they overwhelm this fight immediately. It is a brilliant execute. Now, Sabroso actually gets a kill here, and then he manages to kill Tens. And so he actually does make that a little closer than it should have been. And they come out with the win. But in general, that's a really nice execute coming out from Cloud9. And the level of executions that they have is so unusual compared to them being a puggy team that I think combine that with Shinobi's decent calls of the rotations and Tens' fragging, and especially Tens' AWPing when this is such a good map for AWPers, and you have a really dangerous map that if the Sentinels had let it get to a map 5, I think we could have seen Cloud9 take away the win when it came to the Pulse Invitational. Sorry, not the Pulse Invitational, the PAX Invitational.